I recently made a reaction to German words that are used in English culture in UK, in US. Really enjoyed it. It was interesting to find out about these different words, and I thought this would be an interesting video to watch as well. It's 15 German brands you pronounce wrong. So really interested to see this. What I want to do is just, when it gets to the brand, I want to see if I can guess it correctly, if I can say it correctly. This is me. I'm from Scotland, so this is the German brands with a Scottish accent as well.
Hey, have you seen my Adidas shoes? Your what shoes? Adidas, the brand? Oh, Adidas. Not sure. Maybe you've left them in the car?
I would say
in your friend's
Adidas.
Volkswagen? Huh? Volkswagen, the car brand? It's a German car brand, you should know that. Oh, VW, okay. The first one is Audi. Most Americans that I know
Audi,
pronounce it like I just said it, Audi. In German, we say Audi.
That's how we say it in the UK as well. It's Audi, and then she said in America they say Audi. So at least I'm happy I can get one correct. At least.
Audi. And there's
Audi.
Actually a funny story as to where this name came from. In 1904, a guy called August Horch founded a car company called A. Horch und Company, Motorenwarenwerke Zwickau, but a few years later he left the company and founded a new one. But he wasn't allowed to call it Horch again, and since that's not only his last name, but also means listen in the imperative form, he ended up translating it into Latin, and that's Audi. So Audi means listen. The company is located in Ingolstadt in Bavaria.
I see the next one.
Then of course one of the most famous car brands in the world is this one.
Okay, I say Porsche. Let's see if that's correct.
It's located in Stuttgart, Germany. I've heard Americans pronounce it Porsche or Porsche.
Okay, I'm wrong.
In German, we say Porsche. So there's like this short E sound in the end. Porsche. It was founded by Ferdinand Porsche in 1931 as a company for vehicle development work and consulting. And one of the first assignments that the company had was from the Nazi government at the time to design a car for the general public, which was what later would become Volkswagen. And so they designed the Volkswagen Beetle, the VW Käfer.
Okay, interesting.
This one sounded super funny to me when I
this one I say Mercedes-Benz.
first heard how people pronounce it in English. I actually used to drive one back in Germany. So most Americans call this Mercedes. In German, we pronounce it Mercedes. So Mercedes. In German, we pronounce it Mercedes.
Mercedes.
So Mercedes versus Mercedes. So it's really pretty different. And the full name, of course, is Mercedes-Benz. I've also heard that in England, people also refer to Mercedes as Merc.
Yeah,
a German will not know what you're talking about if you say that, just for your information. Originally, it was just the company Daimler Motorengesellschaft, founded in 1890. The name Mercedes was added later, inspired by a Daimler car dealer called Emil Jelinek, who was also driving car races under the alias Monsieur Mercedes, which was based on his daughter's first name, Mercedes Jelinek. The name was later also used for one of the car models in the year 1900, and then eventually became the name of the brand itself. This one simply has 3 letters, but
this is BMW.
Of course, they're pronounced differently in English and in German. In English, people...
I guess like what I've learned from the previous videos is W in German is like V, is like a V type in English. So this may be like BMW.
We'll say BMW. In German, we say BMW because W is pronounced V in German, and it stands for Bayerische Motorenwerke, which means Bavarian Engine Works. And of course, BMW is located in my hometown, Munich, which is the capital of Bavaria.
I never knew that. That makes sense. Like, how lucky is Munich to have probably the best football team and the best car brand? Is that unfair to say, or maybe people from Germany will get angry about that, I guess, because there's like, I guess Bayern Munich can't really argue with their recent success, but what's the best German car brand actually? BMW, BMW, Mercedes? There's a lot of good brands. Porsche is probably the best, actually.
The company was founded in 1916 and originally mainly produced aircraft engines. It said that the logo represents a plane propeller, and it also has the colors of Bavaria, blue and white, to show the company's origin. Then after World War I, they survived by producing motorcycle engines, farm equipment, household items and railway brakes, and built their first motorcycle in 1923, and then became a car manufacturer a few years later.
That is so much good information. I never knew that was the blue and white was the colours of Bavaria, and that the shape of it was a propeller. That's really interesting. I can't wait to tell people that. But the thing for me about German cars and German vehicles, they're so highly renowned everywhere. Like in Malaysia, German vehicles are definitely thought of as being the best. That's what everybody wants to get. There's even car dealerships here called Auto Bavaria, which I'll maybe take a photograph sometime and post it on here. But yeah, German cars, in your opinion, are they the best in the world? If they are, why do you think that? Is it just the quality of craftsmanship and engineering?
They then went back to concentrating on aircraft engines again during World War II, using forced labor from prisoners in concentration camps, and didn't get back into car manufacturing until 1952. Overall, all of these German car brands that I just mentioned are more or less considered luxury brands in the US. I mean, Porsche, of course, is considered a luxury brand in Germany as well, but Audi, Mercedes and BMW are pretty much just regular car brands to us. Obviously,
Really?
They do have expensive luxury cars as well, but the regular models are driven by people from all social classes in Germany.
I'm moving to Germany, man. I can get me a nice car. But tell me what you think about that. She was talking about the forced labour during the war. I also seen that mentioned with regards to the building of the Autobahn. How do people in Germany feel about that? I guess it's just part of history, can't change history. But I'd be very interested to know what German people think about that.
English speakers call this
Volkswagen,
while
Yeah.
in Germany we usually just call it VW, VW, VW.
VW.
But even if we did go by the full name, it would be pronounced Volkswagen and not Volkswagen. So
Yeah.
just imagine that it was spelled with an F and V instead.
Okay, so the V in Germany
This
is like an
literally
F?
means people's car
Volkswagen.
or car of the people, and it was founded during the Third Reich in the late 1930s because Hitler wanted to
Volkswagen.
have a car that was affordable for middle-class Germans and that met the needs of an average family. So this was his attempt to make cars something that wasn't only available to upper-class people but to the general public. And the company is based in Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg, cool. So the word Volks means folks. So it's like the people's wagon. That is another word that's very similar in German to English, like Volks and folks.
Now let's move on to something other than cars.
Adidas.
So this is one of the brands where when I heard Americans say this for the first time, I didn't understand at all what they were referring to because they usually pronounce it Adidas, and in Germany we say Adidas. Adidas, Adidas.
I think some people in
Super
the UK
different.
still
It's
say
the
like
second
Adidas.
largest
I
sportswear
think,
manufacturer
especially
in the
England.
world after Nike, and I don't think that a lot of people know that this is a German company. It also has
This
an
one I do
interesting
know.
backstory.
And
It
Puma
was
also,
founded
I
by
think.
Adolf Dassler, whose nickname was Adi, so the brand name is based on his first and last name. Adi Das. He founded the company at his mother's house after he returned from World War I, and he actually played a big role in developing spiked running shoes. In 1924, his brother Rudolf joined the company and they founded the Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory, but they later got into a fight, split up, and his brother actually founded his own company called Puma, which
Puma,
became the
yeah.
biggest rival
Puma.
of Adidas. So both Adidas and Puma are German brands.
I didn't know those two actually.
Another shoe manufacturer that many
Okay man, these sandals are so popular here in Asia. This is all people wear. Honestly, I don't want to be offensive, but they just are not my style at all. But I say this like Birkenstock.
Germans would probably consider very, very German. Like if you talk about something typically German, Birkenstock is definitely going to be mentioned.
Birkenstock.
But of course this brand is known all over the world nowadays, and it's natural that people pronounce it with their native accent. So English speakers usually say Birkenstock. In German we say Birkenstock. Birkenstock, Birkenstock, which literally translates to birch stick. The roots of the company go all the way back to the 18th century, by the way. From shoes to alcohol, this is pronounced...
Okay, this one I say Jagermeister. But yeah, I think the thing that's interesting about this is a lot of these brands, it just comes from popular culture when we hear things like BMW. This will come from like people saying it on like TV adverts and on the radio and different things like that, as well as I think it's not for us to, because we naturally just say, I think it's where we've heard it or where we've been taught when we've been younger. It just gets passed on and it maybe suits our accent and the way we speak a bit more. There's certain words that is difficult for me to pronounce in German and other European languages and other languages. So maybe it's just easier for our tongue to say these words. Jägermeister, what is this word?
Jägermeister in German. Jägermeister. English speakers usually say Jagermeister, which is pretty much the same, just with a pretty thick accent. And people also often use the abbreviation Jaeger, like, can I have a shot of Jaeger, please?
Jägerbomb.
It literally means hunt master. Jäger is the hunter, and Meister is master, and it's a German herbal liquor.
Herbal liquor?
This is a German grocery
Audi.
store. You can also find them in other European countries, and they even have some stores in the US. I usually get the majority of my groceries at Aldi here in the US. In Germany, we call stores like Aldi or Lidl discounters because they sell groceries for very low prices. In English, people usually pronounce this Aldi. I think I've also heard Aldi before, but I think
Audi.
most people say Aldi. Or they also sometimes add an S that isn't there in the end and say Aldis. In Germany, we just say Aldi. It has its origins in 1945 when the two brothers Theo and Karl Albrecht took over their mother's corner store and came up with the concept of having a small selection while having low prices. The name Aldi comes from Albrecht discount, so Albrecht, which is their last name, discount. In Germany, we have Aldi Süd and Aldi Nord, Aldi South and Aldi North. Again, this is because of two brothers splitting up into two different businesses. In the US, the store...
The German brothers just not get on when they become successful or something. But in the UK, like, at the moment, Aldi and Lidl are definitely like very popular. I mean, especially with the cost of living increase. But even over the last 5-10 years, both of those stores have like become very popular because not only are they cheap, actually the quality of the food is very good.
It's simply called Aldi and it actually belongs to Aldi South, while the store Trader Joe's belongs to Aldi North. Now let's move on to cosmetics. Nivea is a German brand from Hamburg that's mainly known for its face lotion in the little blue container, but of course they offer a large variety of products nowadays. Again, I find the English pronunciation pretty funny here. English native speakers usually say Nivea.
Yeah, I say Nivea. I actually thought Nivea was a French brand for some reason.
Nivea. In German, we say Nivea.
Nivea.
Nivea. So the emphasis is on the E. Nivea.
Nivea.
This is a German hair
Okay, this one I would say like Schwarzkopf.
Cosmetics brand that you can find all over the world pretty much. In German, we pronounce it Schwarzkopf, which literally means black head. Schwarzkopf. English native speakers usually pronounce it Schwarzkopf or Schwarzkopf or something along those lines.
In the UK we say Schwarzkopf. Maybe that's more American.
Deutsche Bank is the largest bank in Germany. Deutsche Bank also literally means German bank. Yeah. Of course, you can find Deutsche Bank not only in Germany, but in other countries as well. A good friend of mine here in Cincinnati actually just did an internship with them in their New York City location. And she's also going to start a full-time job with them soon. And Americans usually pronounce it Deutsche Bank or something along those lines. And my friend always uses the abbreviation Deutsch when she refers to it. So like she said, I got a job offer from Deutsch, which is just really funny to me because that literally just means German.
A job in German. I say Deutsche Bank.
This is a German manufacturer.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. I've never seen this brand before, so I would probably say something like Miele.
Of high-end domestic appliances, and it's not exactly pronounced wrong in English, but English native speakers usually say something like Miele, so it usually sounds more like an A in the end, whereas in German we say Miele. Miele. So the last letter is just a little bit different. And Miele really does stand for quality. If you invest in a Miele dishwasher or washing machine, you just know that it's going to be a good product and it's going to last. This is something that everyone knows.
Okay, this is my favorite candy. I say Haribo, but I eat Haribo almost every day, especially Tang Fasties.
And loves, hopefully. Maybe not everyone knew that Haribo is actually German. We pronounce it Haribo. Haribo. And again, the name originates in the name of the founder of the company, which was Hans Riegel, and he was from the city of Bonn in Germany. So Hans Riegel from Bonn, Haribo. And he always took the first two letters, put them together, and it became Haribo. Hans Riegel Bonn. Haribo. And last but not least, let's talk.
This one I say Lufthansa. But yeah, tell me, how popular is Haribo in Germany? I feel like I'm addicted to it, man. That's one thing I would love to visit Germany and just try as much Haribo as possible.
About a company that is not doing super well during these times, but it's one of the largest companies in Germany and second largest airline in Europe. And maybe you've flown with them before. In English, people usually say Lufthansa, but in German, we say Lufthansa. So the emphasis is on the first syllable, Lufthansa.
Let me just say as well, the only thing I know from Hansa is like Hansa Rostock, the football team.
Lufthansa.
I don't know if that's related anyway.
And that was the last brand name on my list. So now, of course, I want to know from you guys which of these brand names you've always...
Okay, so yeah, very interesting again. That's another interesting video. Really enjoyed it. I guess I pronounced most of them very, very wrong. But not so far away, and some of those brands I never even knew were German, so that was interesting, and it's good again to know a bit more about the history of those. So tell me what you think about my accent and pronunciation of those words. Tell me in the comments. Recommend some other videos for me to react to. I'll do them soon. Thanks.